Welcome everyone to another episode of the Lancescurv show. I'm quite pleased with the amount of content that I've been putting out. My desire is to put up more, but have quality and quantity. Quality and quantity, that's what I'm all about. We really have been having some really good shows as of recent, and I want to keep that quality up and just come rapid fire. But you know how I do, right? You know that's the way I am. I'm a workaholic, but I'm maintaining balance. But last night I stayed up really late. So today I find myself in the yard next to everybody's favorite fence. It's just something so soothing about this fence behind me. And it's so protective, and the color, and you know, as a child and even as an adult secretly, I love to find little places to find myself in, like a little kitten that, you know, find a little corner of the yard or somewhere in the home where it's like, wow, they're under the couch, they're up high somewhere, and you look and you see them, but that's their spot. So pretty much this is my spot. And I just feel so good here. We all have to be comfortable in our homes, apartments, under the tree, whatever we call home. We have to resonate this good feeling like we're recharging, and to be out in nature and to be out in the nice hot weather. I would be in the sun. I have an umbrella and a tree above me, which actually the umbrella is not over me. It's over me, but the sun is coming down at the angle, but there's a tree right there. So I'm under the shade. So I spend good time in the sun, but doing the video, I'm going to be sweating a lot and everything like that. So this is pretty much a nice, cool little spot. I couldn't stress it more. As cool as it looks, it's even better than that. I just had a couple of mangoes. I'm in a state of digestive bliss, and I'm ready to go. But there's something I wanted to talk about. There's always something I want to talk about, right? There's always something going on in this big hit of mine, but it was brought to my attention more so as of recent in different situations. And I don't know how to title this, but I'm just going to free flow it and see where we go, and hopefully I'll cover what I see. But when it comes to relationships, you know, we all need to take some time before we jump into these relationships without really knowing the person that we're with. And it's easier said than done. Hindsight is 20/20. And I'm not speaking of anybody in particular, but it's a collective. And many have requested me to speak on that because I know a little bit about that from observing, and in my past personal life, I've experienced that. You know, everything that glitters is not gold. And it doesn't even have to glitter, but everything that seems secure and balanced and through your perception, pretty much okay, before you move forward, it may not be that way. There are many people out here who, when you get involved with them, they make sure to keep the dirty laundry away from you. Even whole entire families who know they have issues, when you get around them, that family of those who, of that person that you're interested in dealing with, they will clean up house too. It's like a collective deception. It's like, we know that you're not gonna really hang around if you see how jacked up we really are. And I'm not saying it that way to say that most of us are jacked up, messed up, but most of us have a touch of the dysfunctional in our lives, and many of us are hopefully getting better with what little bit of dysfunction we have. There's no way you're going to be born into a dysfunctional world, a dysfunctional system, the engineered system that we're living under, the situations and trauma that we've gone through slavery and being oppressed. So if you claim that you never in your bloodline have gone through that, to have it in your DNA, that trauma and the trauma responses, then still you're under a system that oppresses you. And this is why you get up and go to work every day, for the most of us that do, right? And we have to go into a deeper understanding instead of just trying to label ourselves and not include ourselves in something. I'm speaking in general. So please don't nitpick me. If you can get something good out of this, take the good and leave the bad. And that's what I always say. But we know how to hide our dysfunctions. We know how to hide those sides of us that we feel may not be perfect. And that's a crime in itself, because nobody's perfect. Me, I embrace my imperfections. And I'm very comfortable with who I am. I don't have to try to live down to a Hollywood airbrushed, engineered imagery where everything is edited and cut. Every image is airbrushed. Every pimple on your face is taken away, and you seem to be perfect. And this is what many of us strive for in this society. We want to present ourselves as perfect, but oh, how long can we maintain that? Oh, how long can we wear the makeup before it comes off? Oh, how long we can stuff a sock in our crotch and walk around like we're packing like that. Oh, how long can you fool that person before that little thing is revealed? Oh, how long can you keep up the performance that you do, and when you run out of those little blue pills that you can't perform without, all of a sudden now the truth is out there. You haven't been taking care of yourself, so you feel you need that, but if you took care of yourself, you wouldn't need that or think you need that. There's so many things that we do out here to put on. It's like, I ask myself, and I've asked other people, and many weren't really truthful. I would say, listen, if no other person lived on the planet Earth except you, right? And some people would say, oh man, that wouldn't work because, you know, where would you get your food? You'd have to grow it, right? But what if? Okay, what if you go to the supermarket and there's food already there magically, but there's nobody around? Let's play pretend. There's a point that I want to reach with that. If nobody else was in the world, would you do yourself up? I'm not just saying for the women. Would you come with this wanting to keep this image up? You keep yourself clean. You throw on something nice. But how much of this that you do is fluff that has nothing to do with you? And would you do this if there was nobody in the whole entire planet? Are you doing this for you? And most people, yes, I'm doing this for you. No, for many people, no, they're not. They're not doing certain things to themselves. They're doing it to impress other people. They're doing it as a template and an overlay for a situation that the flies jump all over me. I don't take medication or pills for anything. I'm not throwing off anybody who does, but I kind of jerk like that, right? But would you do these things? No. So why can't you live a life free of being trapped into feeling you need to do all these external things that really hide you and hide the real you and keep a person from loving you? See, this is me. This is me. I got a couple teeth I need to have some dental work done. I got some razor bumps under here that shine through depending on how the lighting is. So what? I was up until 8 o'clock this morning working. I woke up at 12. I got 4 hours of sleep. I said, you know what? I'm still going to create content, but I'm going to do it in a laid-back fashion because of all the work over the last 20 years that we've done. Getting close to 4,000 videos. What am I killing myself for? Keep moving along at a pace and feel everything that you do. But why are you going to kill? Look, I look tired today. I got dark circles under my eyes. That's expected when you do as much as I do. I have no qualms being myself. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I have no hang-ups on what I should be or what society tells me to be, and I'm damn sure not going to fool anybody who's around me and try to pass myself off as this or that, or hide because I don't appear perfect on certain levels. This is me. Some people think I'm ugly. Some people think I'm handsome. Some people think whatever. It doesn't matter. How do I feel about myself? That's the real deal. So this kind of messes us up when we get involved with people, when we're attracted to people, when we're interested in people, in relationships. And before I go into the whole thing, I want to say that really we should clean house first. Many of us are dragging bags of dysfunction behind us, invisible bags that the potential mate doesn't see. If we could really see the emotional pain and trauma and suffering that we've been through that we haven't dealt with, if we can put them in hefty bags, you know, garbage bags, and pack them away, the pain from this breakup, the pain from that time when your mate was caught cheating on you, the pain from some things in childhood, the pain of not having the strength at this time to speak up, but people walk all over you, All these little pains that add up. And if you could put each one in a hefty bag and drag it along behind you, how many hefty bags would you have? So what makes you, and I'm not saying you personally who's listening, I'm just saying things in general, I'm going to have to say, not everyone but some, not all but some, like I always say. And then people are going to say, well, why didn't you talk about the man or talk about the woman? When I speak in a way because I am a man. But these principles that I move by are interchangeable. I could be a woman talking about a man. I could be a man talking about a woman. So don't think, oh, you need to talk about the men's out here. Okay. And there's always going to be some. There's going to be somebody in the comment section that's going to say just that. And I'm going to answer him and say, see, did you hear the part of the video between X amount of time and X amount of time? Go back and try to observe before you jump to conclusions, because there are people who watch these videos and other people's videos who there'll be a big disclaimer in the beginning and you wonder what video they saw because they jump right to a point and want to beat a person up. Come on now. Maybe they touched a nerve. There's a lot of nerve touching out here in social media. I know, because I get the hate mail, I get the hate calls, I get the hate text messages. But it's okay. It makes me know that I'm being effective. But how many of us are even ready for relationships with all of the things? We need to have a relationship with ourselves and say, hey, I'm chilling for 2 years. 2 years? I need to release myself physically. Well, what good is release when you're in an emotionally dark place? What are you releasing? You're not releasing it the right way. You see, we'll have bags, those hefty bags of dysfunction behind us, but we want to release by consuming more alcohol. We want to release by watching more porn. You got that family-sized jar of Vaseline that you bought last week and it's halfway done. Check your history. Ladies, check your history or the common computer that you use. You'll be surprised what your man is looking at night, right? But we want to release ourselves in so many ways, but in ways that are ineffective to making us better incrementally tomorrow than we were today. That's the bottom line. Are you better in different areas of your life than you are today? Are you a person who brings the same energy around you into other situations? And what drives you? What drives your actions for the day? Why are you peeping on people and scheming on? You know, I've had neighbors that they peep on you and they watch you and they don't even realize how sick they are. They're not free. They're not free. And if only they were, they would really be able to enjoy life. I've come to a part today in my life, a point when the thought of transition, way back in the day, it used to be like, oh my God, it's spooky. But it doesn't freak me out anymore. I mean, I've been this way for a while. But we're all going. It's a system, right? So, in this system of nature, things die physically, transition, and come back to feed what is there. Let's see what it is. I'm not going to live life scared of what they call death or transition, because where was I before I came here, and was probably scared of this, right? But provided you within yourself are ready for that relationship, and you should be preparing yourself for that now. Even if you don't want to be bothered, prepare yourself to be better so that when you are interested and you move into that, if you do, you don't have to. You're ready. My mother always told me, leave the house clean because you never know who's coming back with you. It might be an emergency. Leave your house clean. You don't want to leave it funky and dirty. Not that it was ever funky and dirty, but things just pushed out of place, and you know somebody's coming home with you. Whatever, you might run into an old friend and they're going to come by with you and help you with some things, or just general chit chat. Like, hey, I'm in town. I got 2 or 3 hours to kill. Come on, let's come back to the house. Now you're sitting there scared to come back to the house. You know, you're trying to run in the door and, you know, oh, I left this here. I left that there. I left my underwear right at the front door. I left my brassiere here. You know, and the underwear, it's white, but now it's 2-colored, but I forgot to pick it up. Streak down. So are we ready? But provided you are ready, You need to know or look around you at the signs of when you're getting involved with somebody. Not the things that they purposely put out there. Like, you know, they're going to put on a good show. You know, when you have these corporate walks, like say, for example, in a retail store like Lowe's or Home Depot, and they say they're going to have a corporate walk, and the corporate bigwigs, the regional bigwigs, the national, you know, corporate people and CEOs are going to come to walk the store and make sure that everything is okay. And those supervisors and those area supervisors, they're running around like crazy. They have people come in there, other companies, to count each tile, put everything in place, sweep the floor, and micromanage everything. And the guys that come through to walk, they just breeze through real quick. And you're like, wait a second, they're supposed to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's 10:10. They're not here yet. Oh, they walked past you. They walked in and walked out and didn't pay it no mind. Right? So these people, your potential mate, will make sure to be like that store that has a corporate walk. But what the work that they put in to make sure the makeup is right, to make sure the nails are right, the house is right, everybody's on point when you meet their family, you can't buy into that so fast. You can't buy into that so fast. And we get fooled. And eventually the facade disappears. And eventually you see what it is behind it. You realize how great a job they did in fooling you and treating you nice. How they were so concerned on your every whim. Every little thing about you they took care of. Not that you're looking for somebody to take care of you, but you did the same thing back in return. As it should be. And it shouldn't be measured. It shouldn't be, well, I did 3 things for you yesterday, and today you only did 2. You got 1 more thing to do. No. If your mind is right in a relationship, the times when it is 90-10, where you gave 90 and they gave 10, they should be striving to give also. It shouldn't be where it's put in the back of your mind unless this is the norm all the time. Right? It shouldn't be that way. Sometime, like in friendship outside of a marriage or a romantic thing, hey, I do this for you, you do that for me. We know we have each other's back, and that's the beauty or the beautiful feeling that we keep in friendship. And that's the way it should be in relationships and potential relationships. But so many people fall for the sales pitch, and when they really open up the box of what that relationship is all about, you see everything, the dysfunctions, the good, the bad, and you'll ask yourself years later, if it lasts that long, you say, what in the hell did I get myself involved in? It's like, okay, I'm a man, right? So I'm speaking, why do I have to keep saying this? I'm speaking as a man, so if I speak on women, I'm not bashing them. It's only because I can't speak on men, because I'm not into men. I'm sorry, I'm straight. So I'm not going to do every single comment. Well, if I was a gay man, then I have to speak about a gay man. Or if I was a lesbian, no. One between 2 people, whatever it is, and my thing is heterosexual, right? Any other thing you can take with that and run with it and try to apply it, but I don't know if it's going to work. You know what I mean? This is not a factory part. This wisdom, or what I'm sharing, is not something that can be interchangeable on some real twisted, dysfunctional, delusional death styles. This is for lifestyle. What I speak about is for lifestyle. But you find yourself, and I'm blending a few things that people have come to me with. There are many people who wonder what they're in this relationship for. Meaning that the honeymoon is over. A sense of normalcy has taken over. Of course you have the honeymoon phase. And if you have any sense, you know that all of that is not going to last like that. That's just a down payment on a situation. But when the well runs dry, and the person that you're with just doesn't give a damn. I mean, they just don't give a damn. They don't give a damn whether you eat. They don't give a damn whether you're sad or happy. It's like you're a utility. Like you generate money. Okay, we're going to pay the bills this month. Give me the money. And that's it. No good morning. No how are you feeling. And when you're feeling sad and lonely, but everybody else in this dysfunctional family, and I'm saying families, you know, related to that mate, they get the king or queen's treatment. I mean, they run behind them like, damn, are you married to your daughter? Are you married to your brother? Are you married to your son? Maybe you should have married your son. You treat him more than you should treat. He's the husband on paper. It's the way it is. You get married or get involved with a woman who has a daughter who is a spoiled brat. You better be ready to jump up and down and honor and worship that daughter if you want to get next to that wife or that woman, which really makes no sense at all. Your relationship with that particular person, that mate, that wife, we'll just refer to it as husband or wife. It could be, I don't think grown people should say, oh, that's my boyfriend, or that's my girlfriend. Boy? Girlfriend? Girl? Nah. Either, you know, try to say fiance. And if you've been saying fiance for the last 10 years, you're dissing yourself. You're shacking up, you're fornicating or whatever, to use biblical terms. I'm going to use it. It's funny because they'll say that. And in the church, we have the biggest fornicators in the world, right? And adulterers. That's what makes it so sweet for them. You know, it's like we're so rigid, but now we explode. We do a little thing and get into it and get real freaky. And then all of a sudden, no, we're back in church on Sunday morning again. Crazy binge purge type stuff. Right? But we find ourselves in these situations where it's like, hey, you baited and switched me. You promised me, not maybe through your lips, but through how you showed me, how you treated me. Now you got me. And now I'm lonely. How many people are in relationships that are lonely? They're lonely because they're willing to do their part, but that other person, okay, I got you now. Now you're irrelevant. Now I'm going to go out in the world and do what I want to do. It doesn't mean they're cheating with anybody, but it seems like, dang, you never request for any time with me. You never say, hey, let's go do this. And when other family members pop up, you're forgotten. You're forgotten. It's what they want to do. You can even have plans set ahead of time with that mate or wife or husband. And when it doesn't even have to be the dysfunctional family. It could be a buddy, a friend, that they have some emotional bond that is so unbalanced, it's choking you off. That doesn't mean that you should be a nagging husband or wife. There's those two that are nags, that don't want the mate to do anything. I'm not talking about being that. I'm talking about a legitimate situation where you're neglected. Because you have some mates out here, you can do anything and everything in the world for them, and it's still going to nag you, and it's not going to be enough. But this is what makes it easy for someone else to fulfill your needs, make you feel good in certain ways that one at home refuses to acknowledge. And that's not to say that anybody who goes outside of what their legal situation is right or wrong, but can you understand? I mean, if there's a restaurant, and say all I eat is from restaurants, I cook food at home sometime. There's no food at home. I got in late. The supermarkets are closed, but that restaurant is open. And that restaurant, that's my favorite restaurant. I go to it, and it's closed. But all the other restaurants are open. I never really go to the other restaurants. I go to this one, but I'm hungry, right? And it's closed, and there's a sign that says that it's not going to be open for the next 7 days. Well, I'm concerned about now. I can go to bed hungry, but there are other options. There are other restaurants that are saying, hey, come, we'll treat you good. We want to make our restaurant your favorite restaurant. Because over there, even though it's your favorite restaurant, you may not have known it, but they're not treating you as you should be treated. So you go over there and give it a shot, and you wine and dine, you say, man, this is what I'm missing. Man, that restaurant that's closed, now that's their business, they can do that, but they never treated me this way. I can see now that it's subpar performance. So what do? Abandon the restaurant, ever go in there again? That's a restaurant, you can do that. In a relationship, it's not that easy. You've invested time. You are of high moral character. You do love the person that you're with, but they are blatantly telling you, even to the point of verbalizing it. I am not doing this. No, I don't want to do that. You can take a trip to your hometown. A guy just told me recently, and he said, man, it would mean so much to me if my wife came with me to see where I grew up, to go down, and I want to see her there. It's coming full circle with me. I'd like to know this. I'd like to see this and experience this. It's like when you have a mate and you want to bring them home to your parents, and if you don't have your parents, that one that raised you or others who knew you. It's a gratifying feeling, right? But some are not even aware. Some people are so detached. I don't even want to say cold, but they're just not there. They just don't see it. They never will, as much as you tell them. They just look you they'll look you in the face and like, it's not registering. But then when you look into their family line, you notice that, say for example, you may have a person who has endured trauma when they were younger, traumatized or molested or raped. I understand that. But you go and you see those who were raised up with them, and you see a common thread of lack of empathy. Lack of empathy. If you don't know that word, look it up. Realizing what a person is going through and having a feeling to soothe them. You have a mate who says, listen, it would mean a lot for me for us to just take a walk today. And you just look at them like they're crazy. At what point don't you understand that that person that you're with, that you neglect on even the little things, might take a walk and find somebody who likes to walk? Nothing more, nothing less. But they like to walk, and it might be the opposite sex, and they say, well, we'll meet here. I would love to bring my husband, I would love to bring my wife, but if you like this and I like this, we can take a walk. We're not talking about doing anything wrong or bad or anything, but now that mate finds out that you're walking with somebody else, and they had no intention on doing this with you, right? And now they see you in a balanced way, or they observe that there is nothing going on, but they just don't like it. To me, that's imprisonment. Emotionally imprisoned in these dysfunctional relationships. And I don't know what is the origin of that. I'm going to kind of free flow rant. Don't know what I'm going to say next, but I know it's going to come out right, and I know it's in there somewhere. But sometimes it seems as though this is what these people, I'm going to say these people, that, this is why they want to lure you in. And this is a deep, sick thing that I noticed, and I want to know if there's anybody who has ever experienced this or ever seen this. That there are some people out here who get off on being sadistic, who get off on saying no, who get off and corralling in the gift that you are, with the light that you have, with the kind heart that you have, with the spirit of giving that you have, and it's their job to tell you no with everything. It's their job to dim your light. It's their job to bring you in to their narrow box of a world. That if they just go to work and come home, go to work and come home, go to work and come home, go to bed, get up, and they ain't got that much bills now, but they're just so stuck in that way that they expect you, with all of your vast knowledge and experience and different personality more, to come and whittle down and fit yourself in that box when you know better. How many people know people like that? There are some really inconsiderate people out here who have mates, and they have corralled them in and made them stagnant where they can't grow. And you see this person like, wait a second, this is a friend of mine. And this person, male or female, had all the potential in the world. And now they got with this person, right? They got with this person, and it seems like all of the light has drained out of their face, because they're really an emotional sponge for that person that they're with. This person that is sadistic in the relationship, has gone through so much, refuses to look within, but takes your energy and the spill that has become their life. Like when you spill something by the sink, on the floor, and they have to get something to soak it up. Well, guess whose energy goes to soaking up this person's prior dysfunctional relationship, that the only chance for it to change is to change for the worse, because they are not dealing with it. It's like a person who's in their backyard and the house is on fire. Ooh, the house is on fire. I think I better call the fire department, but I don't feel like getting up right now. Well, guess what? Your house is going to burn down. You don't feel like really listening to your mate and observing and watching their rhythms, and they may feel down. You don't ask them, if they feel down or not. You just go by like a robot and keep on going, because to heck with them. You don't care about them. They're there to fit in your world. And this is why many of us are gullible and need to see that before we get involved with these people who they are not changing. You fantasize of this life together, where you can travel together, where you can explore together, where you can do different things together, and they sitting there smiling with you. They're not saying they don't want to do that. They're not saying that, oh, I have no desire to do those things. They're like, come right on in, fool, because all that energy you have, all that enthusiasm that you have, I'm going to suck from you and use it to sponge up the pain, the spill of pain in my life. And that's what you're being used for. And this is why you have no energy to do anything positive for yourself. They are not going to encourage you to do anything positive for yourself. Your shoes have to have many holes in it before they would even think or allow you to say that you need to get new shoes. You can fall apart for all they care. They're going to keep sucking from you, and they will keep you drained. And this is the thing, this is the catch with these sadistic type people. Dysfunctional people. But this is a different kind of dysfunction. There's a resentment. Again, that if you attempt to develop your craft and develop your talent, and you start to flap your wings to fly away, and you might even take to the air, they're going to reach up, they're going to find a way to pull you back. It might be something going on in a different state that's tailor-made for you to discover your talents, your individual talents, whether you're a singer, whether you're a person who wants to get into a certain college, which you know how I feel about college, but if you do, and you fit the qualifications, maybe get that free ride to the school, but you got to take a trip, or maybe a 2 or 3 hour flight somewhere else to see if you qualify. First thing they're going to say, oh, you don't have money for that. You don't have money for that trip, but you've got to invest in yourself if you are going to develop yourself. But some of those same people will have another family member in their family who they encourage, who they will wait on hand and foot, who will, before they wake up, they're just sitting there by their door like a little maid, a little servant, and the food is ready, and you looking like, wait a second, who's the wife here? Who's the husband here? So you got to be careful what situations you go into, and you have to understand the emotional proximity that they have with each other. See? And these are certain things that were told to me that they said, well, it's okay to tell. You have mothers who have been through really bad relationships with their ex-husbands and had to divorce them, but they have then become married to their children. Married, not dedicated. And we're not talking babies, but married to the children in essence, where they have become enablers, and they are enablers, but they are married to those children. And they will do anything. The child can go and cuss you out, and they're going to find a way to make it right. They're going to find a way to say or minimize what they did. And for you now, they're going to complain on you for even moving your mouth, because that's their little precious baby doll. That's their little princess that can't do anything wrong. And that little princess is sitting there looking at you mad, like, how dare you question this hierarchy? You have, and I'm talking about teenagers, right? Little 2 and 3 year olds, they don't do stuff like that. But teenagers who they're on their way out the house, and they're mad at you now because they have to go. They're mad that they've been awakened to see that you need to be responsible for yourself. And the mother sits on to the side, like almost to say, I'm sorry you've grown up. I'm sorry that you have to fend for yourself, because you know, if this joker that I had come around wasn't around, I would be cleaning your toilets, I'd be washing your clothes, I'd be cooking your food for the rest of my life. But We will always have a dysfunctional relationship. I'll send you money. I'll enable you in all kind of ways. But we won't see that one full. So look at the energies of the people who are around you, right? Look at the man who might have a wife, and this is interchangeable, y'all. And for years he felt something missing. And he understands that his wife is on the phone frequently with, because with the father of her child that's grown. And she's just curled up in the bed, giving up all kind of conversation, but yet she doesn't talk to him. That's weird. Emotional bonds. We don't know how they're formed. We know, but just before you walk into a relationship, understand how each family member deals with each other, because it's very important, and you'll prevent either getting into a relationship because it's too messy, or you'll understand to clear it up if it's something salvageable for you and what you have to offer. But there's nothing wrong with a test drive. And I'm not saying something sexually, but go on for a longer time. Be in no rush. You have to be in no rush. That's what they get you when you're in a rush. So they bedazzle you with the sex. They bedazzle you with the cooking. They bedazzle you with every single thing to take you off your senses. You're like, oh man, this is heaven on earth. I don't want to lose this. But in thinking you're losing heaven, you walk straight into hell. These things we have to talk about. Many of us do not talk about these things. This is why the cheating apps are full. This is why the dating apps for married people and people in relationships are becoming or getting more and more popular as the day goes by. Who wants that? Who wants to get into something and not trust who you're with and not get what you want at home, but now you're forced to? I'm not saying you actually are forced to, but many people who don't have the strength and maturity to say, hey, I'm getting out of this, they just go ahead and say, you know what, we can keep it just the way it is right here. I'm going to go out and quietly get what I need, since you're obviously not doing what you should do. I don't feel there's anybody who commits themselves to a relationship initially wants this type of scenario, but too many of these scenarios are out here. I used to overhear it on the bus, people talking on the bus. Even a person who, the two of a couple, they live along a certain bus route and they're with each other, and the young lady might get out first, right? And then we have the man on the phone who, he gets on his phone. Hey girl, oh yeah, she just got off the bus. How you doing? I really want to see you tonight, but she wants me to come by and do something, but I really, really want to come and see you. And a lot of times it's not even sex. This is the thing. So I'm going to say this too. With many men, I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not condoning being reckless that way and being evil and just not considerate to a person's feelings. But there are some men out here who, I will tell you, for them, they would love to just be held. They would just love to be held. Especially as African men out here who are under the system, who are suffering so much. To know that your wife or your woman comes up to you and says, listen, honey, I understand. I understand what you're going through, what you have to deal with, and you are a good man. For those men who are good men. And I just want to let you know that I'm in this with you. You will always be able to come home and recharge, and you are a king in this household. And you matter and you count. And there's nothing outside that's ever going to change that. As the world tries to strip you of your masculinity and your power that you have already, I will be here to boost you up, and I want to let you know I see and feel how powerful you are. Do you know, ladies, how much that would do to soothe us? And there are some men out here who that's all they want. It's not necessarily they want to go and lay in a bed with a woman. They just want to feel that soothing female energy. It has nothing to do with sex. It's like when their mother used to say, hey, I love you unconditionally, no matter what. That's your mother. Now, we're not looking for mothers in our mates, or we're not looking for the father, if you're the woman, that man to be the father. But the father and the mother that you had was the first example of manhood and womanhood, male energy and female energy, and you have no choice but to go off of that as a template to get what you need. And yet and still, many of us have been damaged in those relationships, and we don't know or refuse to give that to our mate. Every grown woman has a little girl inside of her. It doesn't mean that she's a little girl. You know, I get the text message. I'll answer that in a little while, which would be excellent for me. She's not just a little girl, but she still has that branch on the tree. And you, as a wise man and mate and husband, have to know how to speak to that little girl. But she's not just that. You have to know how to speak to her as you speak to the woman that she is, so that some of the message gets past her conscious, and seeps into the subconscious mind of that little girl. Ladies, the same thing for you. You have to speak to that little boy in that man without talking to him like he's a little boy. And this is another thing I want to touch on too. How we talk to each other. It can be a stab. It can be stinging, especially when you get around other family members or get out in public and you posture in a certain way, like you're sick of this person or they're a child. The world does enough to us out here as African men in a European dominated society. The last thing we want to do is come around and have our women whip out the belt and the whip and start lashing us in public or lashing us behind closed doors, even for the most subtle things, because lots of times that's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. We're not, and you're not going to like it. You didn't do it, but you're the one who put that, you know, that last straw that tipped everything over. Not that you should be walking on pins and needles, but you should be the one to remove those straws that are there prior. That is your job, especially when you know how this world does us. But when you're extremely dysfunctional like that, and you have things that you refuse to clean up, you have no time to see outside of yourself, or that hierarchy that was pre-existing in your family where positions are already set. You may say that you're a wife to this man, but are you really a wife to this man? You may say that you're a husband to this woman, but are you really? And you have to know that every person wants to feel needed. Every person wants to feel appreciated. And many of these families that you marry into, they don't care about making you feel this way. Now, we're not talking about the whole family, because to heck with them, because you married this one person. But they came out of that same pot. If you put a fish in a pot full of chicken, and it's already cooked, and you let the fish sit in there with the chicken, you take a bite of the fish, it's going to taste like chicken. So what was this person who you've married or committed to, what type of atmosphere did they saute and simmer in? They look like one thing, they look like the chicken, or they look like the fish, but they taste like chicken. They claim to be holy, but they're the most vindictive individuals on the entire planet, and will eventually turn on you. So these things we have to detect, and the only thing that I can say is that take your time, and you have to know yourself. Know what it is that you like. Stop trying to find yourself or fulfill yourself in something that's already certified dysfunctional. So you're opening up what little peace of mind you have for all of these other demons to come in and rob you even more, who are just looking to use you as an emotional sponge or to blame you for something that happened long before you came into the picture. That's amazing to me, when you as a man or you as a woman, you come into a situation that's pre-existing, your mate has kids, children, but they're mad at you for what their daddy or their mommy or pretty much their daddy didn't do. But you weren't around. You didn't do that to them. But you did that, and they will add on more. Oh, you messed up my childhood. I didn't know you when you were a child. But they have to tell themselves that subtly, because they don't want to come at the father who did all these things to them. So you become the poster boy for what their father didn't do. Be careful when you get into these situations. And here you are trying to fulfill these strangers who are now your in-laws, more or less, and they're resentful of you because your good deeds are viewed as bad because it shows what their daddy didn't do. We should have a show called The Stepdaddy Blues. The good stepfathers that try their best, but they get crapped on at the end of the day, right? And because of that, you may have an enabling wife who still wants to enable grown people who are their offspring, but the strings still remain. I mean, there's so many different ways of looking at this, but you have to spot these things. You actually have to look for these things. Because when you are getting involved with someone, it's like that last walk, that last inspection on a house that's being sold, and you have that last chance to look at every single thing and make sure everything is right. We have to do that. But if we get fooled by the fresh coat of paint, if we get fooled by the new tile that was laid down, especially the temporary stuff like vinyl, what? You just threw it. What are you covering up? What are you hiding? Peel it back. You want to see it. Look at the wiring. Look at this. Look at that. When was this last changed? Go below the surface. And that's the bottom line. We sit back and say, oh, I'm taking it as it is. No, don't take nothing as it is, because this is your life. You're going to give, I mean, look, we have all the lovey-dovey, rosy, whatever, but marriage and commitment is a serious union that will wreck your life up if you don't do it right. If you don't take the time, if you get an inkling of a feeling where this person is going to speak to you in a condescending way and you know you don't like that, back off. Because it's going to happen, it's going to cause an argument, and they're going to come back at you, and you might defend yourself. I don't mean physically, it shouldn't even go there physically, but they will hurt your feelings and you'll feel so stupid. Like, what am I here for? What am I really here for? They're going on the way they need to go on with their family, but what am I here for? Am I not a man? Am I not needed? Or am I not a woman for the women who are here? Am I not needed? This is a show that's been going on all along, continues to go on, and it seems like it will go on without me. And they want to make you feel that. You need to be needed. You need someone who will give you total commitment. And if you could find somebody that doesn't have a big family, you're halfway there. Some families are nice, but all families have a history. And all the history that they may have may not always be a good one. And lots of times it's going to come back not only to haunt them, but to haunt you when we grind at the metal. You know when you need to change your brakes and, you know, it starts to grind, you start to hear that noise, you better change them soon because it's going to cut down to the rotor. You meet people sometimes that they're like those brakes that are cutting to the rotor, but you don't know that it's cutting into the rotor, and they have to do something fast, and they're going to use you and use your energy to make their situation right, to vampire you. Don't be vampired, y'all. You know, sometimes we think we're getting a hickey on the neck, and they're straight sucking blood out of us, and we wonder why we feel so tired and drained as we embrace the issues that other people have. We can't have that. Life is a certain way, but like I said, it's a wonderful life, but like in bodybuilding training, right? It's not so much how much you can lift. It's not so much what you can do to perform, because you get injuries, and the injuries set you back. And you can make so many gains in a 3-year period, but what good is it when you're injured for the rest of your life on a certain part of your body, your shoulder, your back, your knee? Back off a little bit. Go for the long haul. Because the most wonderful lives that I've seen are ones that have minimal mistakes done. People who took the time to invest and take their time to see what they're investing in the form of another human being. We have a lot of nice people out here, but nice doesn't cut it. We have a lot of wonderful, giving, intelligent, considerate people, but are they that behind closed doors? Is that their facade to the world? Understood? Hopefully. But the best time after going through life and dealing with many trials and tribulations, you will find that it's when you're sitting out here like I am, peaceful and quiet unto yourself. And even though I have a mate, a wife, and she brings me happiness, if I'm not happy, no matter what she brings is going to top off what I already have. So on the flip side, stop looking for people to fulfill you in the ways that you need to fulfill yourself. I'm recording this video. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm known for putting up a lot of content. I enjoy what I do. I lived a lot of life and I have a lot to say. I have a lot of perspectives. I was speaking to Sister Ella the other day. Yesterday. I'm going to call in a little while. And we were speaking about this particular type of topic, about being happy already before. And many of us are always looking to the outside for the thing that's going to save us, to the thing that's going to fulfill us. But 99.9% of the time, the answer to having that happiness is on the inside of us. It's internal. It's not external. So if you're jacked up on the inside and hurting on the inside from things that you have to take care of, and you're carrying 1 million hefty bags of emotional trauma, mental trauma, spiritual trauma, you need, because see, you can see them. I don't mean there's bags behind you, but you know where your scars are. You know where your pet peeves are. You have to do it. There's no escapism from that. Like many people will use alcohol, these substances that are toxic, all types of drugs to escape their pain of things they did not want to deal with. Well, guess what? When the high comes down, it'll be right there waiting for you. So incrementally, my favorite word, right? Incrementally, take a little time and do a little bit at a time. You have your life that you're going to be with you every second, every minute, every hour, day, week, month, and year and decade of your life. You're going to be right there with you. You're the best friend you have. If you realize it, you have to feel at peace. By me doing something to somebody that may have their life going on where they want it, and I'm jealous of them, and I got to infiltrate their world and try to find something to mess it up, it's not bringing you happiness. It's making it where you can't go around that person too much, because they're going to realize what you are, what you've become. Nice people can become parasites too. It's not like if you're nice 20 years ago, you're still going to be nice now. You might be old and bitter. Or you might be in a life that you feel entitled to more because of your excellence in a certain area that didn't work out because it just didn't work out. Every sperm does not hit the egg. But for those sperms who hit the egg and who are on this level, trust and believe that you can reach your goals, and all of us can reach our goals. But first we have to know what our goals are, and we have to start out with that, to have clear vision, to make sure we clean up what's around us in the form of these energies of people that we get involved with and don't know, and their families are involved in influencing them to come against you. You have friends of your wife that may try to influence her against you because they see it's working out. You have mother-in-laws that are mad that the daughter got married to a great guy, so they're going to try to influence them because she didn't have success in her marriage and got divorced. You know, we're not speaking about widowers or widows who they had their mate transition. My heart goes out to you. My hat goes off to you, right? But those people who are bitter for their own reasons, because see, many people, that, especially the ones that are older, don't have to be older, but let's talk about the older ones, the older resentful ones that are supposed to be in position of giving you advice and giving you loving, sound advice. But guess what? Guess what? They resent you. They resent the fact that you have a man handsome man who is faithful and committed and so nice and mannerable and articulate, and they couldn't find that at all. But years ago, they were telling you what you couldn't get. And they're mad that this man is loving you, and you couldn't find it. And you didn't want your own daughter to be loved. So now you're resentful. But many of us go,